NASCAR hands down massive penalties to two Hendrick Motorsports cars. Between that and the team's recent sudden decline in performance, can we say that Hendrick Motorsports has peaked too early? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric and welcome to Out of the Groove. I hope you all have had a fantastic week. No NASCAR racing this weekend or next weekend. NBC taking a couple weeks off from NASCAR to focus on the Olympics. But that lack of on-track action has not slowed down the NASCAR news cycle. Yesterday, NASCAR handed down a massive penalty on Hendrick Motorsports. We're going to talk about that and more today. But first, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, now is a great time to do so. Summer is here. The NASCAR season is heating up with only 4 cup races left until the playoffs begin. Silly season is picking up in a major way. You're not going to want to miss any of the news, the rumors, or the predictions here at Out of the Groove, so make sure to subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss any future content. So yesterday, Hendrick Motorsports received a pretty severe slap to the wrist, more like a slap to the wallet, honestly. NASCAR announced major penalties for both Chase Elliott's number 9 team and Alex Bowman's number 48. Here are the details. From NASCAR, Hendrick's number 9 and number 48 team were found in violation of section 20.6.1.e in the NASCAR rulebook, which covers engine assembly. The penalty report notes when the long block is sealed, the engine must be used in the same vehicle number the next time it is used. We'll go over exactly what that means in just a moment, but the penalty costs both Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott 25 driver and owner points each. Crew chiefs for those two teams, Alan Gustafson and Greg Ives, were also fined $50,000 each. And NASCAR also issued a 1-race suspension to Jeff Andrews, executive vice president and general manager of Hendrick Motorsports, and Scott Maxim, Hendrick's director of track engine support. The points penalty hurts in that it could affect where Chase Elliott or Alex Bowman finish at the end of the regular season, and that affects how many playoff points you get, because remember, the top finishers in the regular season standings do get a select number of playoff points. But the monetary penalty, the of course suspension of crew chiefs and competition directors, are very, very significant. So what exactly was the penalty for? I can already see y'all screaming in the chat, oh, proof Hendrick's cheating, they can never win without cheating, blah, blah, blah. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Here was the statement from Hendrick Motorsports. Due to an administrative error, one of our sealed engines assigned to the number 9 car was unintentionally allocated to our number 48 team at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Although the engine passed technical inspection and absolutely no competitive advantage was gained, we acknowledge NASCAR's process was not followed correctly in this instance. The rules regarding the assignment of sealed engines are clear, and we understand and respect their decision to issue a penalty. We apologize for the mistake and have taken steps to ensure it will not be repeated. The rule they broke explains that sealed race-winning engines must be used in the same car number the next time it is used in a race. And so going back to Hendrick's statement, apparently they took a race-winning engine that had been in Chase Elliott's car and accidentally put it in Alex Bowman's car for New Hampshire. Because that was a sealed race-winning engine for Chase Elliott, the next time it was used on track, it had to be used in Chase Elliott's car. So that's where the rule was broken. Hendrick in their statement claims this does not give them any sort of competitive advantage. And to be honest, I got to agree with them. I don't see how, if the engine was legal, it passed technical post and pre-race inspection. If the engine was legal, who cares whose car it's in? It's not giving that car an unfair advantage on the racetrack. So in a high level sense, no, I do not believe this infraction gave them any sort of competitive advantage. I think it was, as Hendrick explains, an administrative mistake, just an oversight on the shop floor, a costly one at that, but not one that I believe gave Hendrick any notable competitive advantage on the racetrack last weekend. I mean, we certainly didn't see Alex Bowman or Chase Elliott really contend with the Fords at New Hampshire, so no, I do not believe any competitive advantage was gained. But still a pretty major penalty and kind of a momentum buster going into this lengthy 2+ week break. Hendrick Motorsports, broadly speaking, did not have a great showing at New Hampshire this last weekend, and now this penalty being levied against them on top of that really gives the team some bad vibes going into this break. Maybe the break is exactly what they need, get their minds off this, help them reset going into the final stretch of the season. But when it comes to momentum, you could argue Hendrick Motorsports' momentum has been kind of broken for a few weeks now already. I wanted to talk about this at some point during the break, and I feel like yesterday's news gives me a good reason to talk about it here today. But I think it's pretty clear watching the last several Cup Series races that Hendrick Motorsports has suddenly dropped off. Their performance the last 2 or 3, arguably 4 weeks is not what it was the first, 12, 15 races of the season when, you had Kyle Larson winning 4 races in a row if you include the All-Star race, Byron, Bowman, Elliott, all finding victory lane early in the season. The Hendrick Motorsports we've seen on track the last 2 or 3 weeks at least is not as good as the Hendrick Motorsports we'd seen up to that point. I know Chase Elliott won at Road America. I think he won that because he's just a phenomenal road course racer. We can go back to, say, 2018. Considered kind of a down year for Hendrick Motorsports as a company, Chase Elliott still broke through to get his first career win at Watkins Glen. So Chase Elliott's just a tremendous road course racer. So while yes, Hendrick Motorsports did win 3 weeks ago, I think that was driver overcoming the car more than anything else. Because that's what I'm getting at here. Hendrick Motorsports cars are not as good now as they were even a month ago. And I do believe it's Hendrick Motorsports. I don't think the entire field just suddenly caught up all at once. I think it's much more likely that those 4 Hendrick cars suddenly lost an advantage that maybe they had found early on in the season. We talked about a couple months ago on this show when NASCAR came out right and said that we are watching Hendrick Motorsports more closely. We don't think they're doing anything illegal, but because they've been so dominant, we'd be foolish to not look a little closer. Shortly thereafter, we get the rumors that there is something in the front ends of the Hendrick cars that NASCAR told them to stop bringing to the racetrack. This was all after that Nashville Super Speedway weekend, and really since then, I would say since Pocono, because that first Pocono race, Hendrick was still really good. Larson led the most laps, looked like he was going to win, and then when he didn't win, it was still Alex Bowman, another Hendrick car who was able to take the checkered flag, but especially since Pocono, and you could argue even that second Pocono race, they weren't quite as good as they were the first one. Hendrick Motorsports has not been the best team in NASCAR. They have not looked like the clear championship frontrunners that they've looked like up to that point. And this sudden drop-off in performance is most clearly exemplified by Kyle Larson. A month ago, Kyle Larson was on the top of the motorsports world. He'd won 4 straight NASCAR Cup Series events, if you include the All-Star race. He should have won a 5th straight at Pocono until he cut a left front tire in the final mile of the race. But since that Pocono race, the last 4 NASCAR Cup Series races, Kyle Larson has not led a single lap. 4 straight wins, blows a tire, doesn't lead a lap. That kind of sudden drop-off is not natural. Kyle Larson's sudden statistical drop-off is the most significant, but some of the other Hendrick cars have looked worse lately as well. Alex Bowman has not led a lap in the last 3 races. William Byron hasn't led any laps the last 2 races. The only Hendrick driver who still looks pretty good the last few weeks has been Chase Elliott. He's led a combined 90 laps over the last 3 weekends. Of course, he won at Road America, but even Chase wasn't a contender for the win at Atlanta and didn't have a shot at the win at New Hampshire. So the point I'm trying to make is not that Hendrick Motorsports is suddenly bad. The point is that Hendrick Motorsports a month ago was up here. They were a 10 out of 10, A+, 100 on the groovy gauge. And then almost overnight, Hendrick went from the top of their game to middle of the pack. I mean, they're still good. They're still as good as, many of the other top contending teams, but they're not clearly the best team in NASCAR anymore, and it happened so suddenly that it screams that there's a high probability NASCAR's intervention has affected Hendrick Motorsports' performance. And so that's all I'm saying. Hendrick Motorsports is still in a really good spot right now. Kyle Larson has more playoff points than anybody. Alex Bowman is 3rd in the Cup Series. I think Chase Elliott's 5th in the Cup Series in playoff points, so they're still in a good spot, but their cars are not as fast as they were a month ago. And with the playoffs right around the corner, that's why I'm expressing concern that Hendrick Motorsports may have peaked too soon. Showed their hand a little too early. They showed NASCAR and the rest of the field early on just how fast they can go if they skirt the edge here and there, and NASCAR cracked down on it just in time for the playoffs, the most important stretch of the season. So that spells doom for Hendrick Motorsports. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because we as a fan base, NASCAR media, television, we've been duped by this before. Back in 2018, for example, the entire narrative was about the big 3, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick. They had dominated from about March through July or August, and going into the playoffs, all the focus was put on them that nobody noticed Joey Logano quietly having the best statistical chase of anyone in the field. In the final third of the season, Joey Logano had the best average finish of anyone in the Cup Series field, and he went on to win the championship at Homestead, and everyone was shocked. Where did Logano come from? They had blinders on. They were so focused on the big 3, they didn't see Logano sneaking up behind him with the knife. I don't want to repeat that mistake this year. Right now, all we've heard in 2021 is Hendrick. Oh my gosh, they're unbelievable. Can they break this record? Can they break this record? I want to plant the seed now, early on, that Hendrick Motorsports may not win the championship this year. In fact, I'd say if the championship weekend was this weekend, I wouldn't pick a Hendrick car. let's say Larson or Bowman or Elliott, let's say there's a couple Hendrick cars in the championship for right now, I'd honestly go with a Joey Logano or maybe even a Kyle Busch before I'd pick a Hendrick car. They've shown more speed lately. Hell, I might even pick Kurt Busch before I pick a Hendrick car, the speed he's shown the last few weeks. Again, the point of this segment is not to say that Hendrick Motorsports is bad. Oh, absolutely not. They're just not nearly as good as they were a month ago, and I hope the media and the fans start to notice it so that they don't feed this narrative, continue to feed this narrative that Hendrick is the team to beat, they're unstoppable, because they just aren't right now. They are not unstoppable, and I think fans should start to take note of that. I think Hendrick Motorsports has peaked too early. You know, even Kyle Larson might agree with me that Hendrick Motorsports showed their hand too soon. Remember Kyle Larson a couple of years ago when he still drove for Chip Ganassi Racing? He made these comments that he later had to apologize for.
I feel like Hendrick just plays games in a way with NASCAR, and I feel like they always start the year off kind of bad to like show NASCAR that they're being nice and cooperating and following the rules and stuff, and then it gets a couple months in, then they start cheating and finding some speed. So
see, that's what Hendrick Motorsports should have done this year. They should have played nice early on, you know, not won 4 or 5 races in a row, and then when the playoffs rolled around, that's when they should have given their best effort, skirted the edge a bit with Chad Knaus, of course, as their competition director. So Hendrick ran their strategy backwards this year, and it might end up backfiring, but the irony is not lost on me. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Hendrick Motorsports is still good, but they're no longer the best team in NASCAR, at least not clearly. I mean, I think Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott are 2 of the best drivers in NASCAR. They still have good teams over there, good crew chiefs, good equipment, good funding, but boy, a month ago it was Hendrick's world. We were all just trying to get by in it. Now it's anyone's game. The championship is wide open, and I think that's a good thing going into the chase. Keep calling it the chase, the playoffs. It's because I'm talking about Hendrick. Chase Elliott. Chase is the word. It's the playoffs. It's been the playoffs for like 5 years. What is wrong with me? Anyway, the playoffs. Right around the corner. But that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Share your thoughts down below. Do you think Hendrick Motorsports has peaked too soon? Do you think they'll find something? Maybe not the same thing they were getting away with before. Maybe something else. Do you think they find something before the playoffs begin? Leave your comments down below. I look forward to reading them. But that's going to do it for this episode. Again, be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. And as always, a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters. I couldn't do this show without their tremendous support, so I really appreciate it. Plenty more to come during this summer break, so don't go anywhere. I will see you all in the next video. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.